No idea when this video is gonna come out, but I know it will be days after Jump Festa 23. There was an entire section dedicated to Naruto, and it was okay. I think they announced some interesting stuff. I definitely did dig the whole live concert thing that they're planning, and there's also an entire gallery that you'll be able to visit. Those are all great, but I'm not in Japan, so that doesn't really matter to me. The other stuff that was announced, honestly, I don't care that much about, and I'm not entirely alone on this because a lot of people were underwhelmed by the whole event, partially because a lot of people were expecting Storm Connections to get announced. Now, I've seen some folks claiming that this means the game isn't coming out and that Central Japan was scamming us, even though he never said it was going to get announced during Jump Festa. He did say, or at the very least insinuated, that it would get announced this year, but in case you didn't catch the voice tweet before it got deleted, this game got pushed back, and ever since then, the estimates he's been giving are either 2022 or 2023. At this point, I think we can rule out 2022 because I don't think there's any space for the game to get announced anytime this year, so we'll just have to wait until next year. Now, if you're still skeptical, I mean, look, there's already a trademark file not so long ago. Also, we got an interesting tweet from Hiroshi Matsuyama in which he claimed that the reason why he didn't participate in this year's Jump Festa was due to some circumstances and that he was also testing a game that they're currently developing. Now, here's the thing, you might not think this is much, but let's be real for just a second. Matsuyama has to know that we're aware of this game's existence. The trademark was made public, this wasn't a leak, it's literally public information, and I don't know if you check the comment sections and replies from any tweets from CyberConnect 2, all people talk about is Boruto Storm or Naruto Storm 5. I think he's 100% aware of the fact that we are not in the dark in this game's existence, and what an interesting coincidence that this tweet came out at exactly the same time we were all complaining about the fact that Storm Connections didn't get announced. This is speculative, of course, we don't even know if it's the same game, I'm fully aware of that. But I'm just saying, the man knows. He was the first person to hype up a mysterious game that they were apparently developing that never ended up getting publicly revealed ever since he teased back in New Year's Eve 2021. And from Senju's hints, it does at least seem like the game was supposed to get announced this year. Truth is, I think Matsuyama is just as excited to reveal this game as we are, and he knows that we're excited, but he can't make it public, at least not until next year. So you can accuse me of reading into this too much, but I do genuinely believe that this was his way of resparkling the hype after you can imagine it would get died down after it was kept in the dark during Jump Festa. Now, there is one thing he mentioned, which is the fact that it seemed like they're currently in the process of debugging, which is standard. It also kind of insinuates that they're being extra considerate in launching a completed game, because in case you don't know, Storm 4 was actually meant to come out in 2015, but it got delayed due to messy production, and I believe it even exceeded the budget, which caused a lot of trouble to the executives. So I think one of the reasons why this game is taking some time before it's properly revealed is to avoid making the same mistakes that they did before, and make sure that the game is complete, or at least close to complete, since nowadays in the video game industry, releasing a completed game is, I guess, more of an afterthought. Now, there are 3 things I really hope Storm Connections take into consideration during this development, and all 3 of them actually have to do with the PC platform. Number 1, no kernel level anti-cheat. This is actually the thing I'm the most concerned about and the least optimistic because it's by far the most likely to happen, as based on the rumors we've been hearing, it does seem like this game will be the most competitive Storm game. And with that, usually comes invasive anti-cheat. Now, Storm 4 kind of has a bit of a modding problem during its online matches, so I'm sure to many this would actually be their biggest priority. But to me at least, this is the thing I'm the least excited about. First of all, this would probably kill support for Linux. Now, some anti-cheat software don't include Linux entirely, they're more so limited depending on the game. For example, Apex Legends has easy anti-cheat and it works fine on Linux, so does JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But Dragon Ball's The Breakers, for example, despite having the same software, it's completely borked on Linux. Now, I'm not primarily a PC gamer. If I'm gonna buy Storm Connections, I'd rather get a copy for the PS5, but that doesn't mean I don't want to play it on my computer. And if this has anti-cheat, which it probably will unfortunately, I basically have to sit on a prayer hoping that this will work on my computer. My only request is that at the very least give me an option to disable it at the start of the game, kind of like the Master Chief Collection, just so I can at least play the single player campaign. The second request I have is for the game to actually work on PC. Now this might sound like a weird request, so what exactly do I mean by that? Well, let me explain it to you. So as you can see here, this is Windows 10. This isn't my main Arch Linux build. I'm not using any compatibility layer this time. This is pure Microsoft Windows, meaning the operating system that these games were designed for. Contained through a virtualized section, but I passed through my GPUs, so any graphic APIs that are required to play them are all covered. Now I'm going to show you exactly what happens when I try to launch Storm 1. I click it, wait for the game to load, and it doesn't launch. This is the type of shit I expect to see from Proton, not native Windows. Something is clearly wrong. I tried a couple of things, I read forums discussing the exact same issues hoping they had solutions, which they didn't. I then decided to do something that I was hoping to avoid doing but I needed to in order to confirm, which was launching Windows 10 bare metal. That didn't make any difference because I still couldn't get the game to launch, and it's not just this game. Storm 2 and 3 have the exact same problem. Now, I don't know what is causing this, and to be honest, I don't even really care that much because at the end of the day, this isn't my main gaming rig. I only installed this game because I was in the middle of testing a few things. If I wanted to play Storm 1 on a computer, I would play it on my main Linux build, which for the record has no issues launching the game and runs smoothly. The problem I have though is that this issue isn't new. I saw discussion threads dating back to 2018, and this isn't even the first time I've read people talk about how their experiences with the PC ports have not been great. Like how apparently Storm 4 initially had issues with 4K, or how playing these games in 60 FPS alters the speed and frame data to an extent that they don't even feel like the same game almost. The point is, these PC ports haven't been the best, and I kind of excuse them since prior to the 2010, CyberConnect 2 weren't really diving into PC games that much, and the Storm titles were primarily console games, so maybe they went through some rough patches. I mean, speaking as someone that follows anime games, a lot of them are notorious for having pretty terrible PC ports, so I'm not holding that much grudge. But they definitely need to get better when it comes to this. I don't expect the game to be working flawlessly day one. I'm sure there'll be some bugs, balance issues, and maybe even some missing content, despite how egregious that is. But I'm at least asking for you to not pump up what feels like a decrepit final product for the PC platform that literally doesn't even launch. My final request, and this isn't as important but it's still necessary regardless, maybe give us a bit more graphic settings, some sense of freedom to customize it, aside from the typical limited options that we tend to get. I have pretty low expectations for this, but I might as well ask anyway. I think that's all I have to share. I've actually been pretty occupied recently. There have even been some videos that I had to scrap or delay because of some changes that I've been doing to my setup, and I've been testing a couple of things. Hopefully I'll be able to release some videos sharing my testing endeavors. For example, playing FIFA Street 2012 in 4K is a fucking rabbit hole in and of itself, but due to the holiday season, I might not be able to upload for probably a month. Maybe I'll take the time to chill or even try out other projects. In the meantime, I hope you spend the last few days of this year as well as you can. And take care.